Приветствуем всех. И сугубо с моей точки зрения, хотя может я просто что-то не заметил, очень не хватает момента, когда мы можем с кем-то дополнительно побеседовать. То есть нам, конечно, отметили, что мы можем поговорить с доктором и леди, но, допустим, подойдя к торговцу, я заметил, что у него есть аж 5 возможностей поговорить. Конечно, я так понимаю, мы должны были в идеале запоминать, о ком и что нам говорят, чтобы потом к ним обратиться, но, честное слово, для меня слишком много, как вам сказать, фоновых персонажей, о которых я стараюсь не думать лишний раз.
Why do you have such a mediocre reputation among your colleagues, Milton?
Fuck them. Nobody knows the horrors I've seen since working here. This city was sick long before the epidemic, Dr. Reed.
I know it's a difficult task, but correct me if I'm wrong. Is this not the job you are paid to do?
I've seen babies left to die while their brothers were properly fed. Underage girls and boys sold to all manner of perverts.
I'm sorry, I don't know what to say.
Yeah, exactly. We lack words. So excuse me if I don't look on the bright side of life.
Tell me why you're extorting money from some of the patients here.
If a patient wants a bed, he'll have to pay me a little fee. That's all.
Where did you get the idea for such an immoral scam?
Funny you should ask. The first time it was from a patient who bribed me to get a bed. It's only then I realized I could make a fortune.
What's going on between you and Nurse Hawkins?
Pippa's tired. Tired of all this shit. Tired of all those corpses piling up. She's as depressed as I am.
During the war, I witnessed a few couples just like you come together in difficult circumstances. It can be very damaging.
Maybe you're right. But we support each other. And that's all that matters.
You do realize you could both get fired. Hospital staff are not meant to have intimate relationships with one another.
Come on, Dr. Reed. Do you know how many rules are broken in this hospital every day just to keep it running? There's nothing wrong with what we're doing.
Admit it. Nurse Hawkins is more than your lover. She's also your partner in crime.
Of course she is. How else could I tell which bed is free? I need to know that.
Have you no shame?
Don't you see this city is crumbling down? Today people are ready to pay to get a hospital bed. Tomorrow we may be fighting for food.
Do you know that Nurse Hawkins is thinking of leaving the hospital?
That's not a surprise. We've talked about it already.
Does it not bother you?
Sometimes I think she may be right. We should run away while we can. The question is, where can we go? Where is it safe?
Какой стойкий малый.
I'd like to see your goods.
Wise choice, Dr. Reed. A reliable gun is what everybody needs these days.
Да, вот здесь уже подумал, потому что 296 единиц урона это вообще-то очень даже немало с моей точки зрения. Правда, и стоит он, конечно, с другой стороны, из-за того, что нас постоянно били, у меня накопилось немало такое количество реагентов, которые можно продать. Или может нам просто придется очень часто потом их использовать, вот не знаю. Но... Может быть. Если вдруг буду уверен, что мне ни на что больше шиллинга не потребуется. Так, леди Эшбери, мы с ней должны будем поговорить. В принципе, можно, наверное, осмотреть на всякий случай всех в госпитале. Так, леди Эшбери и доктор Свонси. Но, как говорится, мало ли кто еще может с нами поговорить лишний раз. Стрикленд.
Good evening, Dr. Strickland.
And good evening to you, Dr. Reed. Can I be of any help?
What do you think of Dr. Ackroyd's aversion to modern medical methods?
It's a shame he's so narrow-minded. Dr. Swansea taught me that science is about exploring uncharted territory. I'm convinced that's true.
With the influenza and all that's going on, you should put your differences aside, don't you think? Why is it so difficult to work together?
I believe that if Dr. Ackroyd had been the one to discover the transfusion process, he would be the first to recommend its use.
So you believe it's just a question of jealousy and pride?
Dr. Ackroyd is as proud as he is blinded by his obsolete concept of medical science.
Ну что ж, один считает другого идеалистом, другой консерватором.
Goodbye, Dr. Strickland.
Причем закоснелым консерватором. Я ж только что видел, да, проходил мимо.
I'm quite busy right now, Dr. Reed.
Thank you.
Оу, случайно пропустил.
How long must I wait, damn it?
Blaming me will not further your agenda, sir.
How long's it going to take to fix me properly? A month? A year?
Так,
You have the
надо
right to
поговорить с этим
disapprove of our
вот.
methods.
Возможно, у них что-то может быть.
Kindly
Там сказать,
apologize when you're
falling
feeling better.
apart.
некое подобие
But in the
расследования устраивает.
circumstances, I'm willing to give you the benefit of the doubt.
Good evening, Mr. Goswick. How are you?
I'm okay.
Что? Стоп, ну мы же вот спрашивали его.
Your medical report says you're not affected by the Spanish flu. What do you think of that, Mortimer?
Does it make me happy? Not in the slightest. If it was up to me, I would have left this place long ago. I know I don't belong here.
And why do you think you don't belong here?
I know the staff have more important things to do than look after me. There's plenty of patients here who need their attention.
Why did your mother have you hospitalized here? She seems convinced this is a bad hospital.
My mother just wants the best for me. She won't rest while I'm here. She'd go all the way to hell and back to help me.
Pembroke Hospital may look unorthodox, but rest assured you're in good hands here.
It's not me you have to convince, Dr. Reed. It's my mother.
In the circumstances, I'm willing to give you the benefit of the doubt.
Is your mother bothering you? As your doctor, I can ask her to leave you alone if you would prefer.
That's tempting, Doctor. But you have no idea what my mother is capable of. She would tie herself to my bed if you asked her to leave.
Да, а я даже помню диалоги. Почему?
How painful is your throat, Mr. Goswick?
So painful, I'd rather not talk at all, Doctor.
I'm sure you realize a doctor and his patient have to communicate, sir. Would it help if I gave you some paper and a pen?
Not really.
I see. Then maybe it's not just your throat that hurts, Mr. Goswick. Perhaps your sore throat is just the consequence of something more hurtful.
Yes, maybe. But I don't want to talk or even write about it now.
Tell me about yourself, Mr. Goswick.
I don't want to talk, Doctor.
Admit it, Mortimer. Your mother had you hospitalized here because you tried to kill yourself.
Yes, it's true.
All right, then. This is the first time we've really shared information about your case. Shall we call this progress?
Call it what you want, Dr. Reed.
You can trust me. I won't report you to the authorities. My one and only concern is your health.
I guess I should thank you then.
Can I help you in any way, Mr. Goswick?
I wrote a letter for my mother. She was supposed to read it after
Circumstances, I'm willing to give you the benefit of the doubt.
after my death. But I suppose she doesn't have to read it now.
I see. And is this letter still near the place where you tried to take your own life?
Yes. And I don't want anyone reading my last words. I mean, I'm still here. If you bring me back that letter, then perhaps we'll talk.
Странно. Я уверен, что я брал подобное задание. Нет, конечно, есть вероятность, что это осталось на пропущенном видео. Но тогда это должно было бы и здесь записаться. Если не приходилось бы заново общаться.
I have to go now, sir. But don't hesitate to contact me if you need any help.
Good evening, sir. Doctor.
Good evening, Doctor. How is my son doing?
I've read your son's medical report, Beatrice. It's not the flu or anything life-threatening. What has you so worried?
He was at death's door when he was brought here. I just want him to be better as soon as possible.
He's not out of the woods yet, you know. He might need to stay here longer than expected.
Take care of him then, Dr. Reed. People here only seem to focus on contagious patients. I worry my poor Mortimer will be neglected.
Tell me more about your arrival at the Pembroke Hospital. What gave you such a bad first impression?
The ambulance driver was quite rude, for a start. And that nurse, Miss Hawkins, seems to have quite a dubious attitude.
What do you mean?
She managed to secure a bed for my son despite the epidemic. It was a relief, but it wasn't cheap.
She charged you for a bed?
Yes, and I paid without question, considering the urgency of the situation.
А вот этот диалог точно был, потому что таким образом мы узнали как раз таки о том, что вот койки продают. Так, вот это трогать не будем.
Goodbye, Mrs. Goswick.
Разве что после того, как найдем письмо. Разумеется, со всеми общаться, наверное, не будем. Легко посчитаем достаточно любопытными. Можно будет просить, в частности, вот медсестру.
Good evening, Nurse Hawkins.
Good evening, Dr. Reed.
Milton cheats patients out of their money at this hospital, Pippa. Are you his accomplice?
Yes, I am.
Is this your definition of being useful? By abusing the sick and poor?
No. It is my definition of getting out of this useless life once and for all.
Why do you do it?
Why not? Most of the sick who paid for a bed are already dead, or will be soon. Don't you see the futility of all this?
You put a price on hope. This goes against everything you swore to uphold as a nurse.
Report me then, Dr. Reed. Report the little nurse and keep on lying about the surgical errors, the wrong dosages and diagnostics that we all covered for the sake of our colleagues.
Whose idea was it?
What difference does it make? We did it together, and I'm guilty as charged.
Answer my question.
It was my idea first, even though Milton would say it was his, to protect me.
Goodbye, Nurse Hawkins.
Так, ну, по крайней мере, с ними вроде бы все диалоги завершены. А, вот это место, где был побег совершен. Где-то Роял Гарден Холл. Клайд Фич представляет Дорис Флетчер. Сапфо. Мешочек с мусором. Быть может, полезно. Так, с докторами поговорили, с пациентами, которые представляли, ну, примерно интерес, поговорили. Поэтому вот еще медсестра.
Good evening, Nurse Brannigan.
Good evening, Doctor.
Здесь мы пока что что-то не
Goodbye,
знаем.
Nurse. Call me if you need assistance.
И, может быть, даже не узнаем никогда.
Good evening, Dr. Timmons.
Dr. Reed, any good news to share?
Как знать. Кого-то вылечили, кого-то нет.
You're exhausting yourself, Corcoran. Maybe you should think about preserving your strength.
No. We must keep on healing all those poor souls. We are the last rampart before chaos. Once more unto the breach.
Nurse Brannigan is worried about you, Doctor.
She should not have told you that. I will have a word with her.
You don't have to blame her for her honesty.
I'm not that kind of man, my dear Jonathan. Actually, Nurse Brannigan's opinion is the only one I may listen to.
Corcoran, I want you to tell me about Mr. Connor. How did he die? What happened?
He was my patient. He died because of my mistake. That's the blunt truth.
Понятно. Значит, просто остался там,
Goodbye, Dr. Tippett.
там было несколько вариантов диалога. Это опять же неудобно. Если все сделано так, чтобы наши решения уже были необратимы, зачем делать такие диалоги, которые можно несколько раз прокрутить? Это опять же играет против атмосферы, которую пытались создать. Да, конечно же. Так, где же это? О, всего ничего. Ну, раз уж мы здесь. Правда, я не помню, что я собирался делать. Еще хотелось проверить. Да, мьют. Хотя я не вижу, что это мьют. Вот. Определенно парень переехал. Это же его друга мы искали.
Hello again, Mr. Blight. I'm happy to see Mr. Thatcher is safe for now.
I'm eternally grateful, Doctor. We were total strangers and you helped us anyway. Can't thank you enough, sir.
Так, это, кстати, его друг идет. Надо просто не поговорить, потому что почти не причина немного с ним будет ранее.
What can you tell me about the war, Mr. Blight? If you want to speak about it, of course.
War was... well, you know, sir. The stench of death everywhere. Your mates lying bleeding in the mud. Just praying to make it through and get home. Bloody nightmare.
Did you know Oswald Thatcher before the war?
No. We met in the battlefield. I think we were in the same boat to France. We've stuck together ever since.
I fought in France, too. I served as a field surgeon, but it was not uncommon to repel an assault, especially at night.
Yeah. The first time I was wounded, I had to protect the infirmary from hostiles. Twice.
You are always welcome at the Pembroke Hospital. As a former officer, I'll be honored to welcome a fellow veteran.
I'm not giving up on bringing Oswald back to the hospital. I just need to convince him that he needs some help.
Perhaps he needs to reach that decision by himself.
Could you speak to him? He doesn't usually listen to doctors, but perhaps because you've been through it, you can talk him round.
Попытаемся. Ну, прогонять его, конечно, не будем.
What caused your phobia of rats, Newton?
It happened last year following an artillery attack. I was trapped for 2 days in a hole under 2 dead soldiers. And there were rats.
Go on.
They started eating me as soon as I dozed. Gnawing at my ears, my fingers, lips. Couldn't move. Couldn't call for help.
I see.
No, you don't. You have no idea what it is to wake up buried under bodies. Fucking vermin eating your flesh. Oswald. He found me and saved me.
Goodbye, Mr. Blight. Take care of yourself.
Который занимается головной болью.
Hello again, Mr. Thatcher. Do you feel any better now?
Yes. This neighborhood may stink of dog shit and reek of piss, but to me it smells like the purest mountain air.
Mr. Thatcher, do you have a job?
No. Since I came back from the war, I spent most of my time and energy just trying to forget.
I understand what you mean. I was a soldier too.
No. Nobody can truly understand what I've gone through.
Why were you locked in that sewer? What happened?
I went by the canal after an argument with a friend. Got chased by these fucking wankers and had to barricade myself in, despite my claustrophobia.
Why did you run? What was the reason for your argument?
Newton wanted me to go to a hospital, but I can't stand being closed in. Makes me feel like I'm suffocating.
Tell me about your claustrophobia. Has anyone given you an official diagnosis?
That's what the bloody doctor said. But I don't want to go to a hospital to get checked again. I'll deal with it my own way.
Oswald, why did you not go to the Pembroke Hospital to seek medical help?
I don't trust doctors. All they care about is their careers and processes. I won't be locked in any room again by anyone.
Your fear of being trapped is not going to go away by itself. You need professional help.
I've seen enough butchers in white coats to last a lifetime. Hospitals reek of chemicals and death. What I need is fresh air.
Do you want to talk about why you have this fear of being enclosed, Mr. Thatcher?
No, I really don't.
An irrational fear like yours is usually rooted in a specific event. Perhaps it would help to talk about it.
Well, Doctor, take a guess then, if you're so interested in my case.
Oh, даже так. Вот это едва ли. Это возможно, но сомнительно. Попробуем так удачи.
When I rescued you, you expressed joy at seeing the sky again. So I'm inclined to believe you were trapped or buried somehow. Maybe during a shelling.
Jeez, you're good, Doc. You're really good.
Go on, please. Tell me more about it.
Newton and I were trapped in a circulation tunnel after an artillery attack. We were buried alive for several days without ever knowing if we'd be found.
Понятно, они взаимосвязаны.
Oswald, tell me about what happened when you were buried in that tunnel with Newton.
It was more than dark. It was black as pitch. Hours seemed like days, and days like months. The terror, the shameful thoughts. Lord have mercy.
What you endured was terrifying. It would have completely destroyed weaker men.
It did not destroy Newton.
Shameful thoughts. Tell me about them.
At some point, I don't remember which day, but when I thought we'd never be rescued, that this would be our end, I thought about...
Say it, Mr. Thatcher. If you ever want to heal, you have to say it.
I thought about what I could do to survive, just for a few more days. I thought about killing Newton. Killing and eating him. The man I fucking love.
Oh. Ладно. Мне почему-то что это фигура речи.
Tell me about your true feelings for Newton.
I love him. I'm not ashamed to say it. He's the best thing that ever happened to me. I can't imagine life without him.
I admire your honesty. It takes courage to stand up to society. The world needs people like you to create change.
Courage is what we needed in the trenches, looking death in the face every day. I speak plain. I speak my mind.
Have you always been this straightforward?
All I know is, before you saved me by the sewer, my only regret was I wouldn't be able to hold or kiss Newton again. I love him, that's all.
Goodbye, Mr. Thatcher. Try to take care of yourself.
Это будем? Форматом последних диалогов.
Hello again, Mr. Blight.
Good evening, Dr. Reed. You doing your rounds as usual?
How do you feel about Oswald Thatcher? You are more than friends, aren't you?
I love him. I love Oswald. We knew we wouldn't survive the war without each other. But I am terrified, Doctor.
What frightens you so much?
What if people find out? Oswald says I'm ashamed, but it ain't that. It's more, well, you know, I never thought I'd love a man.
Понятно.
Maybe a time will come when you'll not have to hide who you are. But for now, I can only advise caution.
I know, Dr. Reed. Oswald wouldn't survive behind bars. Wouldn't live long if we were separated.
You and Oswald were buried alive during the war. Tell me about it.
Yeah. It was last summer. A shell hit our trench and we were buried for a week.
Oswald seemed far more traumatized than you by the event.
It wasn't the first time it happened to me. Surviving it again gave me strength. You believe that?
How did you survive for a week?
Luckily for us, there were rations and water in the tunnel. It was an outpost, see? Since then, Oswald's not keen on being inside for too long.
Goodbye, Mr. Blight. Take care of yourself.
Ну что ж, еще раз попробуем с этим поговорить. Если он ничего нам не скажет, просто пойдем и заберем письмо.
Good evening.
Evening, Dr. Reed.
Newton is conflicted about his feelings towards you. Would you like to talk about it, Oswald?
It makes me sad and angry. It feels like the beautiful thing we have is somehow tainted. It hurts to see him so lost.
His love for you is genuine. I'm certain he wasn't lying to me when he expressed his feelings for you.
Newton still has to accept it, knowing he'll be seen as a queer, a fairy, less than a man in those simple-minded bigots' eyes. Though he's more of a man than they'll ever be, so fuck them all.
Goodbye, Mr. Thatcher. Try to take care of yourself.
Так, извините, мы все же от них ничего не добьемся. Ну, по крайней мере, нет, не смогли добиться. Так, и найти более-менее верный маршрут. Слишком мы уже не туда пошли. О, на взгляд классная дверь, она была закрыта. И это считается убежищем. Сложное письмо. Моя дорогая матушка, когда найдешь это письмо, я уже уйду. Хочу, чтобы ты знала, я ухожу не за тебя, я покидаю мир из-за непомерного бремени всего сущего, которое в последнее время стало слишком тяжелым для меня. Наверное, кажется, что стихи Бодлера — это эхо, доносящееся из моего собственного сердца. Бывают дни землей точно спаем. Как низк свод небесный, так тяжел. Тоска в груди проснулась, как хозяин, и бледный день встает с похмелья зол. Это тоже прекрасно, сколь мучительно, матушка. Я больше не могу выносить страданий. Я не хочу, чтобы ты убеждала меня. Ведь это лишь ненадолго отсрочно неизбежное. Если случайно удастся меня спасти, я сделаю это еще раз. Прощай, твой сын Мортимер.
In this letter, Mortimer Goswick does nothing to hide his desire to die. I could give it to his mother, but doing so would betray his trust.
Технически, даже если мы его матери отдаем письмо, если он уже настолько будет уверен в своих действиях, едва ли это его остановит. Да и его матушка, это подозреваю, уже в курсе. А здесь все завалено. О, а это что? Так, утроба зверя плодовита. Свое гнусное отродье вампиры создают с помощью крови. Все мы это знаем. Кое-кто из нас даже наблюдал за этим процессом. Но что именно при этом происходит? Действительно ли это единственный способ размножения вампиров? Давайте вспомним то, что нам уже известно. Когда вампир хочет создать потомство, он не кусает жертву, а дает ей свою кровь. Большинство жертв после укуса умирает. Но некоторые выживают и сами превращаются в кровососов. Это происходит только в том случае, если они тем или иным способом ассимилировали кровь вампира. Заражает не укус хищника, а его кровь, и жертва превращается, если переживает муки во время трансформации. Кроме того, вампиры, похоже, способны совокупляться и произвести на свет ребенка. Половые контакты между вампирами и людьми редко приводят к рождению детей, но некоторые все равно пытаются произвести на свет потомство таким способом. Зародыш вампира развивается всего несколько недель. Мать при этом испытывает чудовищную боль. Если мать смертная, то она погибает в родах. Вампир выходит из ее утробы, разрывая на части ее внутренности. Если же мать кровосос, то она, вероятно, выживает и восстанавливается. Новорожденный вампир быстро растет, и все через несколько месяцев превращается во взрослого. Враг. Пендлстоун. Посмотрели Стражи Привана. По-моему, паренек бредит. Вот так, к слову. Доктор, прокомментируйте это описание.
It's locked, all right.
Хорошо. Оу. Нет ничего, что может быть подобрать. Да, все эти беготни, кстати, напомнила, что в прошлый раз мы не нашли сестру Клейтон, не помню, как ее точно зовут. Правительницу соседнего района. Мы не нашли на месте. Но вот сейчас, когда, как сказать, доктор отдохнул, все же удастся ее найти.
But in the circumstances, I'm willing to give you the benefit of the doubt.
Good evening, Mr. Goswick. How are you?
I'm okay.
I've read your letter, Mortimer. You wrote about an unbearable feeling of despair while the world crumbles around you. Tell me more about it.
There's nothing more to say, really. It's hurtful, it's unbearable, and I don't ask anyone to understand what I feel.
Честно, вот что подразумевается под вытыкнуло, даже не догадываюсь. А вот это в смысле обратить боль в силу имеется в виду? Ну, это стандартное предостережение.
The world is bleak, but maybe the pain we feel is the best compass for making it a better place.
How can we repair the world, Dr. Reed, when mankind is the biggest problem? Yes, the world will be a much better place when we're gone.
I have retrieved your letter, Mr. Goswick. I can assure you that nobody read it but me.
Thank you. This is for you, then. For your help. And for your silence.
I think you should talk to your mother. It would be good for both of you.
Thank you, Dr. Reed. I'll think about it. Now please, let me be.
I have to go now, sir. But don't hesitate to contact me if you need any help.
I'm all right. Don't waste your time with me.
Good evening, Doctor. How is my son doing?
Прекрасно. Ладно, так и поговорим. Я все-таки думаю, что она понимает ситуацию.
Your son wished to die, Beatrice. Why did you hide such crucial information?
Are you not aware suicide is a crime? Mortimer could be thrown in jail. I can't let that happen. I won't.
I understand you fear the legal consequences, Mrs. Goswick. But don't you realize your silence significantly affects your son's case?
All my son needs is help and comprehension. Not judgment and punishment for what he may or may not have done.
Mortimer is extremely vague as to his motivations for committing suicide. Tell me more about what you know.
As you say, Mortimer had no reason to die. All he said to me was that he wanted to make the world a better place, but couldn't.
Why did your son feel so useless when facing the world?
I think it was more that he could only see the melancholy facets of life. He couldn't help but dwell on such things.
What do you think he meant by making the world a better place?
Mortimer has always been a sensitive soul. He wouldn't talk to anyone for months after his father passed. It's like he carries everyone's sadness with him.
I have read your son's suicide note. It was not an impulsive gesture, nor was it his first attempt.
He threatened to kill himself a few times before. But I never thought he would dare to punish me this much.
Punish you? Why?
I've known for a long time he was not happy with his life. But I always hoped he cared enough to avoid making me suffer like this.
Don't waste your time with me.
Do you realize your son could try to kill himself again? He might succeed next time.
I think about it every minute. But I won't stop fighting for my son's future. That's how much I love him.
Если честно, не склоняюсь ни к одному из вариантов ответа. На месте доктора я бы, наверное, просто промолчал.
Good evening, sir. Doctor.
You're right. Your son's death was not fatal. And unlike many on their own, he is lucky to have you by his side.
I can't give up on him. I just can't. I have conceded many times in my life, but giving up on my son is something I am incapable of.
Goodbye, Mrs. Goswick.
Только не скажу, что здесь от нашего выбора вообще ничего не зависело. Ну что ж. Я сказал, что сейчас направимся к сестре Клейтон. Надеюсь, я все правильно произношу. Точнее, вспоминаю имя. Но на этом пока что все.